All right, here we're back. HSC Podcast NFL Week 9 game picks. 9-4 for both of us last week. Still keeping us in that 66 to 70% win range. So hasn't been a horrible year, but hasn't been the greatest year either. I think we're on pace to be where if we can get a couple good weeks to finish strong here,
Mhm.
have a good season. I don't know about you, but maybe it's just the fake thoughts in my mind. But I think these weeks are where it seems to be a little bit easier picking games, just because you got a lot more history and momentum, different things, injuries that play out. Where this time of the season's a little bit easier to pick.
Well, I've got four teams that I don't know that you don't know who's going to show up. Like the Falcons, we have
Yeah,
no idea what's going to happen. The Falcons. What should happen and what happened are two different things. The Monday night game, Cardinals and Cowboys, both those teams, you have no idea what's those two teams do. It's like, oh, okay, we think this is going to happen. No, they just shot the bed this week. Or they were like, oh my gosh, they played awesome. And then weirdly, not this week, because this should be a gimme, but that's where it is. But the Chargers,
right.
I don't know, but it's like they should win, but they've had games where like, what?
There's been a little bit of that this season for sure. When you talk about like Carolina in a couple games, the Jets and finally beaten Cincinnati last week. So yeah, there is a little bit. I think if you can single out those games and if you're betting, I don't know, people listening, if you are betting, maybe what I've learned is keep some of those games out of my parlays.
Right? What isn't it? Hasn't the Falcons beat the Bills and someone else really good, right? And then they lost to the Panthers and the
Yeah,
Dolphins.
the Dolphins, yeah.
It's like, what the?
All right, well, let's jump into our picks here. Thursday night football, we got Baltimore at Miami. Miami coming off a win against the what you said, the up and down Falcons. Baltimore coming off a win against the Bears team that didn't play great but had been playing decently the last, few weeks. How do you see this one?
I kind of feel like, how not the same because I feel the other team is better, but you know how like early in the season the Chiefs were like, oh, they have a chink in their armor, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, the Chiefs are back.
Hmm.
That's kind of the Ravens. They like you had a chance to pounce and destroy them, and now there's hope in Baltimore, and you don't want them to have hope. They're probably still going to end up winning the division, so I got to take the Ravens here. Lamar's back. Roquan, came back last week. You have Kyle Hamilton's back. You're getting all your players healthy. Likely is back.
Yeah, coming back from all those injuries for sure. I mean, and they don't really have a hard schedule to finish. So if you're John Harbaugh, you're in there saying, "Hey, this is our time to make the move." So you taking Baltimore?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Baltimore and a cover. It's 7.5 spread. I think Derrick Henry has a big game. Not that I mean, he had a decent game against Chicago, but I think I would expect 100 yards and two touchdowns out of Derrick Henry, especially with Lamar coming back. It just puts another weapon in there and doesn't allow them to key on Henry as much.
And that way, also, you can ease Lamar back. You don't have to just have him do everything.
Right. Just kind of workhorse Henry this game. So in agreement there. Well, Chicago at Cincinnati. I'll go first because I'm going with Chicago. They are the favorite in this game. Cincinnati. unfortunately, is airing that out, and they put up points since Flacco came over, throwing the ball a ton. They scored 33 against the Steelers and 39 or 38 against the Jets. But for Chicago, like you got to win this game, otherwise it's really gonna be real hard to keep with the Packers and the Lions. Where Cincinnati, you got to win because you're not doing great, right? And you still have a chance, and you want to try to keep yourself in the hunt till Burrow comes back. I think it's a toss up game for real for me, but I'm going to take Chicago obviously because that's what I do. So what are you going to take?
This one weirdly was like one of the hardest games to pick. I was like, I know Steve's taking the Bears, but I am gonna I'm rolling with the Bears. They have to
Nice.
win. They need to they need that next step. They need to keep moving up, and you have to beat teams like the Bengals.
Right.
Without Burrow, 50,000-year-old Flacco there, you gotta show up.
Well, and their defense is not good either.
Yeah.
And so you
Also,
got to
where
take
Caleb needs to
advantage.
show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although
Go ahead.
all four of the top four receivers for the Bears didn't practice today. So that's kind of worrisome.
I think they'll be fine. I mean, I've been looking at it a little bit. I'm guessing they all play, but you never know. But this is
DJ
where,
Moore needs to start getting some
yeah,
reception.
I think DJ does have a good game. Granted, if 100% he plays, which it sounds like he's going to, but you don't know because it's still early in the week. Um, I would pick DJ Moore to have a good receiving game. Maybe not a ton of yards, but a lot of receptions. I think they're going to try to get the ball in his hands a little bit this game.
What about a Dunze for fantasy football purposes?
I mean, Dunze started really hot. I mean, he had a lot of yards last week. The problem is I don't know that Ben Johnson or Caleb or who, like, I don't know why they don't go to him more when they get in the red zone. Even though he's caught a lot of touchdowns this season, there were times in the last few games where it's like throw it to Ndunze, but they just didn't. So I'm not sure about that relationship yet. I think he'll get his yards. Cincinnati's defense is horrible. So if you're Ben Johnson and you can't go and put in a bunch of yards on Cincinnati, then you do have a problem.
Yeah.
So Bears, we'll go Bears here. Minnesota at Detroit. Detroit's at home, 8.5 point favorite. Minnesota lost three of their last four.
Be JJ McCarthy again. Yeah, but it doesn't matter who is quarterback. You still got to take the Lions at home. So that's who I'm taking. I mean,
Yeah, this is another one of those where I think Detroit makes a statement game here. They do cover, in my opinion, 8.5 at home. Minnesota obviously is going to have a little bit of, you know, getting back into the flow of things with JJ McCarthy. He's going to have his little hiccups of not playing for a while. And Detroit looks like, they're maybe not perfect, obviously, with that loss to the Chiefs, but they look like they're back on a roll. So I'm rolling Detroit there as well. Carolina at Green Bay. Always tough to go and play at Green Bay. Carolina just is another one of those teams that you don't know who's going to show up. When you look at their schedule and their wins, like they've got four, well, they're 4-4, which I don't really expect them to be at 4-4 at this point in the season. But you look at, they've just destroyed the Falcons, but now we know they're hit and miss. but just get annihilated last week by the Bills. Now you got to go into Green Bay. I think that's tough. Um, I don't know if Green Bay will cover though. It's a lot, 13 and a half. So I'm taking Green Bay, but I'm not confident in the cover.
Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay also. I still don't trust Jordan Love, but yeah, the defense for Green Bay is just too tough. And it's at home, so got to take the Packers here. But you're right. They probably won't cover because that's the way Packers roll.
You're right. Although, we'll see what they come out with. They're going to have some momentum from last week's game. Even though it's not, you still just beat the Steelers.
It's beating Aaron Rodgers is what it is.
Yeah, and Jordan Love confidence level is probably pretty high right now from the game he had. You got back a couple receivers. I don't know when if Reed's coming back, but Golden seems to be back fully healthy. You got what's their other dude that
Watson.
just came back? Christian
Watson
Watson.
just came back.
Yeah.
But Jacobs is questionable.
I mean, if there's a game that you may not need him, this might be it. So it might be a good time to let him rest.
No, Steve. No resting for Josh Jacobs.
So both taking Green Bay there. Here's your Chargers at Tennessee. They're a 9.5 favorite on the road, but it's Tennessee.
Yeah.
You think about the Cardinals game that they did won, like they never should have won that game either. That was a ridiculous finish to that game that got them their only win. Getting destroyed lately. I mean, you got destroyed by the Raiders. And even though it was only a 10-point game, it was very lopsided.
Yeah.
And then the Patriots and the Colts just ran over you. And now you got a Chargers team who needs this win. Like you
Yeah. I
said, they
mean, the Chargers and Broncos have to worry about Chiefs now.
right.
So,
Yeah, they're not well, because they're tied with the Chiefs, right? They're both 5-3 again. So this is a big game for the Chargers, and I think they come out and I think they win, and I definitely think they cover because everybody's almost covered against Tennessee 10 points. So I'll definitely take the Chargers to cover.
yeah, I agree. The Chargers should win this game. But, yeah.
Boy, that'd be a big loss for them.
Yeah.
Here's our favorite team that's killed us all year, Atlanta at New England.
Gosh. I got to take Patriots are on a roll. That's the thing. When Vrabel became head coach, you knew they'd have a winning record. And right now they're in first place in the division, so I got to take the Patriots here. They're not going to, Vrabel's not going to have them lose the up and down Falcons at home.
Right. I mean, 5 in a row. Not the best, not playing the top talent. Obviously, they played kind of the four of the bottom teams there. Bills, they won that game, so that was a big win for them. But you're right, at home, you have to go and win this game at home against an inconsistent Falcons team. And just on the Brable subject, it's in my opinion a culture that he brings that they needed to kind of regroup, after the big changes with Brady and Belichick and just not being the dominant team anymore.
Well, and he's the only, I know he wasn't in the coaching tree because he's just a player, but he's the only coach other than Belichick that wins with the Patriot way.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a great culture for him to bring back, and it's helped them a lot, especially with a lot of their young players. So I'm taking New England. I think they'll cover 4.5. They'll probably win by a touchdown. You on New England there too? Yeah.
Yeah, I said yeah, New
Okay.
England.
All right. So San Francisco at the Giants. This is an interesting game because you want to think about, a Scadaboo injury and say, oh man, that hurts the Giants, but it does. I don't think it hurts them as much as people would think based on what the media is saying or just, the buzz around it. Because Tracy's good, and even though Scadaboo had some good stats and decent games, he wasn't doing anything Tracy can't do. So this is an interesting game on the road for San Francisco. They're a 2.5 point favorite on the road. I had a hard time picking this one. Oh, man, I'm gonna stick with my San Francisco pick, but I went back and forth a little bit. But I also think that San Francisco needs to win this game. When you look at what's happening in their division right now with the Seahawks and the Rams, both at 5-2, this would be a tough loss for them to drop to 5-4. So I'm going to take the 49ers, and since it's only three, I'll take them to cover for sure.
I was down on the Niners this whole year, and then last week I said they'd beat the Texans, and they made me look like an idiot. Thank you, Niners. So I'm going with it again, though. I'm taking the Niners here because I was wrong earlier this year, so I'm going with you now. So show me you still got it.
Sticking with them. I mean they're coming back. They're healthier, right? And that helps them. They still have some big key missing parts, but Kittle coming back was huge for them, I think. And so as he wanes back into the offense, he's going to become a bigger part. And when he's getting touches, that changes their offense quite a bit. Because he's a very, very dangerous tight end in the open field. All right, so we're both on San Francisco there. Let's see, Indianapolis at Pittsburgh on the road. They're a 3.5 point favorite. What do you got here?
I'm still rolling with the Colts. They're the hottest team in the NFL, right? I mean, and the Steelers defense doesn't look good. The Colts offense, what Jonathan Taylor looks like an MVP candidate. So I got to go with the Colts.
Yeah, if you can't slow down Jonathan Taylor, like you're making Daniel Jones look like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Because what do you do to stop Jonathan Taylor at this point? And their defense is playing, good enough to help them win all these games. I just don't. Yeah, I agree. I don't see how Pittsburgh. I don't know why it's a 3.5 point spread. I actually think the Colts will win pretty handily. So I'm definitely taking the Colts as well for cover 3.5 for sure.
Have you been seeing, because they've been talking about it a lot lately, that the owner, Jim Irsay's daughter is like on the
Oh,
sidelines with the
on the
headset?
headsets, I love
It's
it.
awesome.
It's funny because at first when you look at it, you're like, oh, what are you even doing? But then, when you listen to her talk about it a little bit, she's talking about accountability for the coaches. And that's one of the reasons she wants to be on the headset, because she wants equal accountability for the coaches and the players. And I don't know her full background and what level of football knowledge she has, but somebody with the right football knowledge, that's beneficial.
Man, it's work, I guess, I mean, she's been down on the sidelines. They keep winning.
Yep. I mean, it helps to have Jonathan Taylor back.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a little bit of a lull there. He's always been good. Don't get me wrong. He's been a great running back. But when they went through the contract stuff for the fair pay for running backs,
Yeah.
it's funny to say, but having him back and having Daniel Jones, not making mistakes, too many mistakes. He still makes some Daniel Jones from time to time, but he's got a good QBR, he's got good yardage, he's got good touchdowns. And the Tyler Warren, I mean, what a great addition for them.
But Bears.
I know. Come on. Don't remind me. All right, so we're both going Indy there. Denver at Houston. This became a lot more interesting of a game. Houston at home, 1.5 point favorite. Houston's still 3-4. A little bit of a morale lifting win against the 49ers last week, which I think they needed in the worst way. So they've won three of their last four after that 0-3 start. But the Broncos are technically, hot. When you think about they're still winning their division, 6-2. They've won five in a row. Just dismantled the Cowboys last week offensively. But they've looked up and down, right, against the Jets and the Giants. And so I don't know that they're the model of consistency, but you got to win this game if you're the Broncos. So I'm going to roll with the Broncos here, and they're an underdog, so no need to cover.
Yeah, I mean this is a tough one too because I picked the 49ers last week because what you don't know what if the Texans is CJ Stroud's gonna be rookie CJ Stroud again or not. Um, but yeah, I gotta go with the Broncos. They've been more consistent than the Texans, so I'm gonna go with the Broncos.
Yeah, this one might come back to bite us.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm always glad when the Broncos lose.
Spoken like a true Raiders fan. It's great though. I love it. It's just, I mean, obviously, I say the same thing about any NFC North team. So this is a big game for Houston, though. If I would watch a morning game outside of the Bears game, I think I'd want to watch this game. All right, afternoon games jumping right in. Jacksonville at Las Vegas. Jacksonville on the road, 2.5 point favorite. Won their last two. They're 4-3, or lost their last two. I mean, they're 4-3. They're off to one. Looked like a good start at 4-1, and then you run into the Seahawks and Rams. Is this their comeback game, or can the Raiders finally get back on the board?
I'm not picking the Raiders until they show me something. So I'm taking the Jags. I mean, this is, it's Travis Hunter against Genty, right?
Oh, it's true. Right. There we go. We got the top two picks.
So maybe Chip Kelly
Or,
give
well, I
Genty the
guess,
ball. The Heisman, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so if Chip Kelly gets Genty the ball a little more, that would be nice. And if Gino doesn't throw tons of interceptions, Brock Bowers is back. So that might maybe transform the offense. We'll see. Um, but yeah, what they did against the Chiefs was such an embarrassment. I can't take the Raiders until they show me that they can actually do stuff. That offense should not be only having 30 plays for the whole game.
You're right.
So I got to take the Jags until the Raiders prove me wrong.
Yeah, their overall team stats are just so bad when it comes to it's offense and defense is the problem, right? Like
Mhm.
your points for is worst, your points against is bad, your rush yards is bad, your pass yards is bad.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville, yeah, they've had a rough last two games, but this is an important game for them. I think they need to go in here and win. So Jackson 2.5, I'll take that. Jacksonville. Both in agreement there. New Orleans going into the Rams. Geez, this is the biggest spread. I didn't think there'd be a bigger one than Green Bay and Carolina, but they got the Rams by 14.5 here at home. New Orleans, I mean, I can't say they look horrible, but they look bad. They had moments against a few teams. They didn't play great against the Bucks, obviously, last week. They played okay against the Patriots and the Bills earlier in the season. So 14 and a half's a lot, but you're at home and you're the Rams, first in the division. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely take the Rams. I don't know about the cover, so it's a lot. If it was
Well,
13 and a half, I'd take it.
the Saints are starting Tyler Shock. He's
Yeah,
getting the start for him. So I don't know. That Rams defensive line, I think they will cover. I think this will be a blowout.
blowout. Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt that the Rams win. But and yeah, I mean, they have the ability to blow out, especially I guess, Puga's probably gonna play. So we're in agreement there. We'll take them to cover. I'll roll with you on that one. This might slowly have turned in here to the game of the week. Kansas City at Buffalo. You got 5-3 Kansas City, won three in a row against Lions, Raiders, Commanders. So I guess not super impressive, but the Lions win was good.
Commanders no Jaden Daniels.
Right. And the Raiders. But they're 5-3, right? And the
Mm.
Chiefs know, Andy Reid knows that you can't get too many games back. And so he's going to have them ready to play. But it's in Buffalo, so that's helpful for Buffalo. And they coming off of a huge win, not that it mattered that much, but a big margin victory win over the Panthers 40-9 after dropping two straight. But so they're still 5-2. They got to stay up with New England. So that makes this and I guess you just throw back all of the history between these two teams, right? If you look back at all the playoff history they've had over the last, we're going on 4 or 5 years now, right?
How is this game not like the Sunday night or Monday night game?
I know. What a
Seriously?
disappointment. You should move this to the
How is
Sunday night game.
Cardinals Cowboys? When they were making this out, they're like, yeah, we should put the Cardinals and the Cowboys on Monday night.
Well, didn't they used to be able to move games to Sunday
It's
night
later in the
football?
season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I cannot, who in their right mind would put Cowboys and Cardinals over Chiefs Bills?
Maybe it's just how many times they were already on, right?
So
Already
who
scheduled.
cares? Let the Swifties have their thing.
Yeah. Do it for the Swifties.
Well, it's a business. You're out for getting ratings, right?
I mean, that's for sure. We know that 100%. But this is a tough game to call, right? Since Kansas City's actually the favorite.
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
But I'm gonna go with Buffalo because they're at home. And I know that probably doesn't make a huge difference because it's not like they're going into completely different atmospheres as far as weather or field or things like that. But I like Buffalo here at home to win this game. Kansas City's won some games lately, but they still made some mistakes. Yeah, they beat the Commanders 28-7, but it didn't do it pretty. So I'm taking Buffalo.
This is going to be a very boring podcast because I'm taking Buffalo also. I mean, that's the thing is the Bills, when they're always in trouble when they have to go to Kansas City. It's at home. They, had that lull. They lost two straight. And then they destroyed the Panthers. James Cook, what, at 200 yards last week?
Yeah.
So I got to go with the Bills.
And it's the regular season too, right?
Yeah. Regular season Bills against Chiefs is different.
Yeah, if you're a regular season, you want to go for Buffalo. If you're in the playoffs, apparently you want to go for Kansas City. All right, in agreement there. And then Seattle at Washington. I don't even know if they're going to have Daniels again.
Well, they already said McLaurin's out.
Right. So McLaurin's out. Daniels looks like he'll probably play. But Seattle is, man, they're, I don't want to say they look great, but they look tough. Like it's a team you don't really want to play defensively. They're flying to the football. They have a lot of athleticism on both sides of the ball. And you got to keep up with the Rams, right? If you're Seattle. So this is kind of a must win for them. And on a, what I think is a down turning Commanders team, or it's going to take a lot for them to get back on track. I think this is a time where Seattle will be able to go in to Washington and win and cover 3.5.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think if I'm the Commanders, I don't play Jaden Daniels against this defense. I don't want him getting hurt. I getting
Again,
killed. Let him rest up. You know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. He's your franchise quarterback. Okay, maybe you don't make the playoffs this year, maybe not. You don't want him to do what they did to RG3
right?
and then go back, your franchise go back 5 more years. So I would be careful with Jay. I would not rush him. Make sure he's completely healthy before letting him come back. Especially now with no McLaurin. That's your safety valve.
Yeah, and Debo hasn't looked great at all for them. He's had flashes, but he hasn't looked like, he's McLaurin. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you might be onto something there where, maybe it's time to think about more of the safety of your franchise than winning this game. But, good for Seattle, either way. I think this is a big game for them and they need to keep up there, especially since we both picked, we got San Francisco and the Rams winning their games. Seattle's got to win.
I picked the Seahawks to win the division, so I gotta have them keep winning.
Yep. And then obviously the game of the week, Monday night, Arizona at Dallas. I do think Murray's back though, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it says questionable still, but I think he's back.
Yeah. Just reading through, it sounds like he's going to play. But they're 2-5, and man, not what I expected from Arizona at this point in the season.
Well, I mean, Marvin Harrison hasn't looked good. They're losing all their running backs. Um, God, I hate to say that. I can't. I hate to say this. But I'm taking the Cowboys here. That's at home.
Yeah.
And the variable, I just don't know what's going on with the Cardinals.
Well, they've also lost five in a row. I mean, it's hard to say here's a team that's dropped five in a row. You're going to go into Dallas, who his defense is not great, but their offense is going to put up numbers. And so, can the Cardinals score with them? I don't think so. So give me Dallas also three at home. Sure, I'll take that. Win by 2.5.
This is why we need Wes here. This is a clean sleep. No,
Did we have no swing games?
no swing games.
Wow. All right. Well, I think that's a first.
It is a first.
That's this this might be, if you're watching the podcast, this might be the week, right? We
Jeez.
agree on all the games. Could we have an undefeated week?
No, some stupid team will mess it up.
Well, now that we've gone through the picks and what team could mess this up? Like, so looking back, where do you think the biggest opportunity for it to break the perfect week?
Funny, it will be our games, both of them, because you know, I don't know. Is the Bears is how's their defensive back?
Right, they're certain still.
Yeah, and so who knows? That might be a 45 to 42 point game. And then like the Raiders are coming off a bye, and then they just got. I know he hasn't isn't the same, but they got Tyler Lockett now.
Right.
Brock Bowers is back.
Yeah, and if Gino doesn't throw interceptions and protects the ball, it's not like they don't have a good offense.
Right. But I think both those three interception games have been at home. So, and then I know mentioning the Raiders, I have to admit, rest in peace, George Atkinson. He was one of my, I didn't see him play, but he was one of my favorites.
Right.
And the story is that Lynn Swan wanted to sue him for his hit.
I didn't even
So,
know that was a story. That's great.
oh yeah, you can read up on it. It's oh, and then one of the playoff games, Atkinson just nailed him, and like Lynn
I'm
Swan
gonna
wanted,
sue you.
yeah, he wanted to sue. Yeah,
Yeah, I think you're the Bear. I mean, we knew it from the beginning, right? The Chicago Cincinnati game was a hard one to pick. So that
yeah.
is one that I definitely could see throwing a little wrench in the cog there.
Well, of course, betting against the Chiefs always screws you.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, those are two games, and I think you're right. Vegas could make more noise than you expect. Well, yeah, those are probably the three games I would say are most at risk.
Well, and then you know the Falcons because the Patriots are in first, so they might actually play awesome.
Jeez, wouldn't that be?
Can you imagine that be the only game we got wrong? Is the stupid Falcons?
The Falcons have been killing me all year. I just want to say that right now because when I don't have them, they play good, and when I do have them, all the rest of the times they play horrible.
And that's the thing. Like you said, you don't have to bet on every game, so stay away from the Falcons games.
You might just want to. All right, well, we'll wrap up our picks there, week 9 in NFL. See how we do. See if we can get back on a roll here. And so we'll be right back with a quick movie top five for you. And so stick around.